All right. Go ahead and open up with a word of prayer then. Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for the opportunity you've given us to gather to serve our community and to work to make it a better place for all of us. We'd ask of you that you give us wisdom and discernment as we make decisions that are before us. We'd ask of you that you give us your blessing hand as we would again work to improve the community for all of us. Pray that you give us a spirit of unity, draw us together. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Go ahead and do a roll call. Chris?
Here.
Flo?
Here.
Betty?
Here.
Josh?
Here.
Kristen is absent. She's not able to make it tonight. I get a motion to excuse.
A motion to excuse.
Second.
Thank you, Josh. And you said Betty, second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right on. Then a little bit of a hectic stretch, to say the least. And we've had a number of volunteers that we're very grateful for. They came in, they volunteered their time, many of them day after day after day, and we're very grateful for them. This isn't a complete list. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get my own wife on here, who spent some time down here, was down here for a day helping with stuff in the utility position. But we had Stephanie Gieb. I hope I said that last name right.
Guide.
Thank you so much, Stephanie Guide. Renee Spencer, Chris Bender, you were down here a bunch. And then Mike and Alyssa Eichelberry were down here, and they volunteered their time, and I think even their mulch in helping to work up the area outside to make that look a whole lot better than what it has. And that's not a complete list. There have been a lot of folks that have volunteered their time to come down and help and keep the train on the tracks, and we're so very grateful for that. So I want to make sure that we would recognize them the way that we need to, the way that they deserve to be. So heartfelt thank you to everybody who volunteered. And if I left your name off the list and you're watching the recording later, please forgive me. Again, not a complete list, a bunch of hands helped, and we're very grateful for each one. Our phone systems are up and running. We're grateful for that. We had, I'd say it was less than $1,000 in that, 974, I think is the number. And we got those up and running. We're happy about that. And so just as a quick update there, we did get those transferred. The landlines that needed to stay in place for the security systems and all that, those obviously stayed intact. Nothing was touched there, but we do now have a much more reliable, robust phone system. We're grateful for that. We do have a new utility clerk. Ashley Krebs came on board, and she's been taken to it very, very well, and we're grateful for that. Varney and Fink have agreed to come on, or to send us a proposal rather, that we can get before council to act as our fiscal officer. I think that would be a wonderful thing for us to entertain. I don't have a proposal from that. They're pulling it together now. But as soon as I have that, council, it'll be in your inbox. So I think that's about what I have for the moment on that. I don't think I'm missing anything, but I do want to take public comments. And we have a few folks here. One did indeed register. That would be the Kellys. So grateful for you folks being here. Hi. And so we'll just go ahead and give you the floor. Council has the web form you guys submitted, so they're a little bit aware of what's going on, but why don't you walk us and council through it?
We come over about a year ago and about our creek being cleaned out. We have a estimate.
Awesome.
We got another one this year. The guy just came. There was supposed to be an easement paper we brought last year.
Yes. I would imagine we have it in a binder somewhere.
I hope.
Yes, sir.
We can't find no one out here. Just, I don't know. I'll give it to my neighbor guy who stays up all night playing music. So, I mean, we're getting, with the recent rains and that, it's just creek's getting pretty steep.
Yeah, I hear you there. We've had a bunch of it. $4,550 looks like even. Am I reading that handwriting right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the 800 is only if the yard is repaired.
Okay.
Hopefully it won't need to be repaired, but
That'd be great. As wet as it is, though. Whew.
Yeah.
You could see it happening.
Well, I mean, we can wait till it's drier.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
All can't live on top of the hill, huh, Jeff?
Right. We'll have a barn that's in the flood zone, right?
Is that the creek by the trailer park or?
Yeah, it's down, yeah, kind of. It's
Down
down behind the.
street.
Yeah, it gets cleared out through your front yard and everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
basically it's the storm sewers in town.
Yeah.
That's the same one that somebody else was talking about that runs through their yard.
No, they brought it up about a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is the different one. This is the different one, yeah.
Yep. And I'd have to go through the minutes, but I believe council approved to cover, was it half the cost or?
We didn't hear the decision.
Oh,
We had
We
the-
left here and, yeah,
Yeah, we didn't have, when we left last month, we had it.
well, how about hopefully council can get your decision maybe, but yeah.
it's mainly the one part is like 100%. And then we split, well, it's got the picture on the back. And second
The
page.
guy that give us the estimate through the picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we paid part of like 25% of where it connects. Say here is 100% town. Here is the runoff from the hill, rainfall or whatever. And then it goes into one single line, which is what we paid part of on that. Plus our line, we paid full on that one. So we're just asking for the main line from you guys and then 3/4 of the rest of it.
So what's the total, is the total dollar amount what's on that sheet that you're asking for?
No.
No, it's a percentage of?
Correct.
Okay. And that would be,
When
Oh.
McKee did it, I'm sorry, when McKee did it, we paid like 25% of what connected for the straight line. Beams in and then the straight line.
okay. So you're asking us to cover the 75, the town to cover 75%?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Of this.
Well, the 750, can I just,
Yeah, absolutely.
You can speak to it in terms of dollars.
yes. So here is where the town, that's all the runoff in the sewer,
Right,
or not the sewer, but the storm. This was 100%. So that would be like 750, I believe it was. So this is where we have to cover.
okay.
This,
Is this what comes down through your yard?
this is, they both come down through our yard.
Where's
This-
Wood Street? Where is Wood Street?
That's what I was,
That's what that side of it.
No, I know that, but I'm trying
here.
to understand where this is because you say the culvert pipe. Is this the pond?
Yes,
So the
Pond is
pond's
here.
here.
Yep.
Okay, the phone pole's the one you've got me. messed up.
this is the V on our side.
Gotcha, okay.
On our
So
side of the
I understand.
culvert.
The phone pole I thought was the phone pole on Wood Street. So
Oh,
that's
no,
why it was
no.
messed up. So this is the culvert pipe. This is Drown's Pond.
Yep.
Okay, so this is what,
This
You
is
want the
your
town-
storm, yep.
this is the storm sewer.
And then this is 75%.
So then this is yours, this is the town.
Correct.
75% of this should
Yep.
be the town. Okay, and that,
And this
those
is on both
numbers,
sides of the driveway.
okay, and what's the number on that?
Well, it'd be. And plus there's haul off fee. Cause the dirt has to go somewhere. So this is the haul off fee, 1,500 and it's 750 per section. 750 per section.
Okay, so, okay,
So 2,250 for all three sections. And then 1,500 for the haul off, which we don't know where to haul it off. And then this is if we repair the yard. If it's damaged. So potentially this could come off. And potentially, who knows where this is gonna go? I think,
do you understand that? So you guys understand all that?
so I think the mayor had said something about. Who was the fellow that lives up north of town by the water treatment plant, about getting rid of it.
Hmm,
I was gonna say, as far as the.
up by the water
haul off,
tower. That's
by the water tower itself.
Yeah.
Do you remember saying that?
Well, I remember looking into options. Yeah, we wanted to look into a number of options.
Yeah.
What about hauling the dirt off? Find somebody that wants to fill dirt.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we could try to advertise.
Would
it
that
to see
be
if anybody would
an
snag it.
option?
Yeah, it would be an option potentially. So,
They're still gonna charge you the ticket.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you're still gonna have a whole off fee probably no matter what, but
Maybe. Depends on who wants to fill dirt.
that's true if they got a dump truck.
It could be of use.
Could be somebody that sells fill dirt, you know?
And there was a second quote. You guys
There
had
was two quotes handed in March with the copy of the easement. And the other fellow was way higher. So we didn't go back to him to get the second quote for this year. We just had him
Last
quote,
one.
which was the lowest bid. And we've used him before, so. Not for this particular phone, but. And WT McKee would not quote it. He said he didn't have any way to remove the dirt, so. Right.
Which I understand.
Wouldn't have to be an actual decision tonight, would they?
I mean, I suppose not. I would feel some level of personal onus on this, because at the end of the day, it means in all likelihood, I'm the guy that dropped the ball on it. Because they were here and we did talk about it, and I thought we made a decision, but I'm clearly, I don't have that right. So if we're going to table it and we don't want to make a decision tonight, that's obviously up to you guys. But I would want to make sure that we do a good job. I do a good job of making sure you folks aren't left in the waiting zone that long again. So
We could go back in the paperwork maybe and see.
yeah. And maybe Seth, Leah, or Joan, I know you guys are online. Any thoughts from any of you? They can hear us, right?
Should be able to do it, right?
Oh, Joan, you're muted.
Of course she is.
Mayor, I have not seen any of the documentation that came in since I started on April 14th. I didn't see anything with any of the packets. So as far as comments, I can't see the documentation from here, but maybe Seth might have some questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to review the documentation. Regarding cost for the fill dirt, again, not a legal opinion here, but I know some civil engineers and some developers will oftentimes take dirt from one project and spread it somewhere else on the property and regrade that portion of the property to kind of dispel that haul away cost as well. So they'll keep it, somewhere else on the property until it's either able to be hauled away or spread back out on that property, because then it's not really going anywhere. It's staying where it came from, just on point B. But that's more of an engineering issue than it is a legal issue.
Now, we don't have an issue with that, but the last time we had to cost out of our pocket to get a yard rake to get all the stone out of that dirt. And quite frankly, we don't have the time and we don't want to spend the money on another yard rake to get all the stone out.
I don't blame you.
We could dump it under our maple tree as long as somebody removes the rock from it.
Okay.
Mayor,
Okay.
Mayor, I just had a question. Is this something that our street department guys can do? Or is this, I can't see the documents that you guys are looking at or exactly specifically how it's being proposed, but is this something that we have the equipment and the staff to do?
Ron and Mike could speak into that.
Ron, I'll let Ron.
I don't think we have a hole big enough to get down in there and get it. We just got the one dump truck.
Say, because he knows more of the area and he's seen it. I haven't seen it.
So you
I
would
just
say
know what-
no.
Do you know what Big Mike has? I'm just wondering. I'm also thinking of that's part Clinton Township along with Shreve.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious as if Clinton Township wouldn't take that dirt and haul along Cemetery Road where they've been dumping out there anyway. So, I mean, I think as far as council, if this has been over a year, we probably need to do something on it. I guess, I'm not sure how to move forward
So,
without having all that.
yeah, I just want to be super clear, Kelly, the 2250, I just want to write down 100%, 25%, like, I just want to know, just on this sheet, which, like, so this 2250, you're asking the village to cover what percentage of that?
75%
Okay.
of 1,500 and 750 on the straightaway. The part that comes into the V, 100% of it. Because 75% of that rain is coming through our creek. It's not from down the hill or whatnot. It's coming from the storm sewers. And it's a massive amount. And we get junk and debris and everything else that comes down through.
Yeah, so the 1,500 is 75% is the ask.
Correct.
And then the unit price of 750, which would come out for a total on this sheet to 2,250, if I'm reading that right. That
Minus 750 of that. 750 is ours.
okay, so 75% minus 750
So
bucks.
1,500 plus 1,500. So 1,500, 100%. Or not 100%. 750, 100%. The 1,500, 75% of the 1,500. And then 75% of 750 for the straightaway.
That's where you
You'll
put
be
the
right there.
driveway.
Yeah, come on up.
That's why I was
Really?
hoping you,
But
Maybe we could just do the math real quick.
the 1,500
Two.
needs to be put on hold.
well, that's different.
Okay.
from how
Okay.
it's struck.
So
That's
here's the
difference.
trick.
So
Yep.
This is Wood Street.
it's,
Mhm.
there's three
This is
legs. and
where
everyone's
the storms-
750, 750,
That's
750.
100%.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is that? What is
750.
100? Okay. So we got 750.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now this is supposed to be another 750.
Okay.
So that's 75% of that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this is ours. This is out of the question.
Okay.
This 75%.
So, okay.
Do you guys, do you have any dealings with the
Roughly
township?
2,500 we're doing.
Did you guys deal with the township on a?
Well, less.
We talked to him. I don't know what we.
And,
Roughly.
and this would be 100%.
Should be less
And
than
plus the
24.
100, plus the 800.
I know they take a lot of
Yeah,
soil
minus-
out.
So
Without the
13
800, should be
road
24 foot, less than 24.
to try to keep
Yeah,
the swamp.
yeah.
Without the 800.
So 3237 is the ask, assuming that we need that.
Correct.
Okay.
Chase's property too there.
Right. just
Well,
go
and
like
then
that.
if you are wanting to
I
do
don't
the
know, like I
dirt,
said, I don't know how the
in our
township works.
yard,
That part
Mhm.
township.
I don't
too.
know what the rental
No, that's not
cost
all
is for a
village
rake
tree.
or whatnot,
So.
or the time and labor to do it. So
Sure.
that is an option,
just
but
something.
Okay, but this includes the haul
No,
off here? No, it does not. How much
this,
more is
this
that?
includes the haul up right here.
That includes, okay, so the
Yep.
number 3237 covers
Yep.
the haul off. Okay,
Well, 75% of it.
okay.
Read those numbers and I'll make a motion.
Okay, so, $3,237 is the ask of a total that would be it. That's everything.
And the Kellys are taking care of 750.
They are taking care of, the total bill is 45. $1,313.
Okay.
So,
I would move that we pursue this contract with Big Mike's, but also investigating whether the Clinton Township will take the soil away at either a reduced cost or something for them, because I know they take soil. So
okay. Okay,
that's my motion.
all right.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Mayor Martin, can you just read back what that motion was so I can write that down correctly?
Absolutely. The motion was to pursue the contract for Big Mike's, which would include a disbursement of payment to the Kellys in the amount of $3,237, leaving them to come up with the remainder of $4,500 of the $4,550. And then that as a part of that, prior to entering into this contract or dispersing funds, that we connect with Clinton Township to see if they would be willing to haul off the dirt either for free or at a reduced rate, given their habit of doing that in the past. So, sure, we can read back to recording. That's the great thing about having recordings. All right. And I will make do you need a copy of this?
That's yours.
Oh, sweet. All right, I will hold on to it and we'll go from there. Okay, sir. Excellent. Thank you guys so much. And honestly, I'm sorry about that. I'm sure that ultimately was my bad. So thank you for your patience. Okay. Anybody else that is here would like to address council? All right, we'll go ahead and roll forward then.
That is why, like they said, Nick was here a year ago. I've heard some different things, and I tell the people, keep coming back to the council meeting. If you're not satisfied, come back again, present your problem again.
I mean, I get it, but I also understand that they were here. They went through the proper channels then, and in this case, I think I probably just dropped the ball on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It happens.
Yeah,
It happens. So
I'm human.
yeah, so come back, and
Sure. But they were kind about it both times. I appreciate that. So
they're good people.
no doubt. All right. Have you, council, had time to review the council meeting minutes from April the 21st, 2025?
Move to approve.
All right. Can I get a second on that?
Second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Ron, police and administrator report. Anything to share?
Break on Monday, and so far we're good to go as far as the street block.
Awesome. And then you were sharing something with me on a fire hydrant. We want to go ahead and yeah. Well, unless you had something else on the police side.
We have a fire hydrant on 226. It's off to the side of Sweet Haven. That the fire hydrant is not working properly. So we got prices for a repair kit for the hydrant and prices for a new hydrant. And the prices for a repair kit for the hydrant was $3,975.69. That was the new hydrant, $3,975.69. And then for just the repair parts, $3,915.13.
Get a new one. Yeah.
One way or another, we have to remove the hydrant and put it back on there. So yeah, I was thinking that probably the best bet is to go new and that everything's new on it, and we have another new hydrant instead of another repaired hydrant.
Right.
So go.
How many hydrants are on Shreve?
Oh Lord, I don't know. We have a map of them all.
There's 90 some.
They just flushed them, so they counted them.
90 some.
Just curious.
It's like 96 or 98.
Well,
something.
just looking ahead at cost of replacement, if you have 100 hydrants, I'm just thinking, that's all. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
they just flushed them, so we've got a pretty good idea on how many they twisted.
Okay.
And the other thing was just Kimball had complained that the alley, it's looking at the Eagles Nest Lane, that the alley, they had problems with the alley and they thought the alley was sinking in and they'd asked for gravel to be dumped. It was supposed to be forwarded to everybody. But the alley itself looks like it's fine. I don't know if they've got a new driver or a bigger truck, but they're going off the alley and into the right of way with the truck, and it's, where is it?
Where's it at?
Eagle Nest Lane.
Where's that?
It's a very small alley going out towards Sweet Haven.
It's the back road behind.
Oh,
Sweet
okay.
Haven. Okay.
Oh. Nick Cuban used to have a property on the corner there, and they tore it down. It was where the house burnt down. That's on Eagle's Nest.
Oh,
Anyways, they wanted to put more gravel onto the alley, but I think what they were wanting is gravel into this right of way, which we can put gravel into that right of way, but the best thing would be to put some gravel as a footer in there and then put some asphalt on top of it. But I don't know, like I say, if it's a new driver or a bigger truck, why all of a sudden they're having problems getting, I know they're trying to get around the corner of that building. They're probably afraid they're gonna hit it.
it seems like they're always changing drivers. I was gonna say,
Who's building it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Most of this property up here.
Or is it
And right
okay.
now, that house is vacant.
Well, I guess my question is it too close to the alley? I just didn't know how.
It's probably been there 90
It's
some
been there
years.
for
90-some years. Wow. Okay then.
It's
Right.
definitely been there a while.
Never
like
mind.
Ron.
That's bad.
It's like, it's like the one that's back here behind the firehouse, that gray and maroon building that looks like Ohio State colors. It's right on the alley. It's been there forever. We've got a couple of them, and we're starting to find more and more with people selling their houses where the neighbor's building's over on their property a little, and then they're having disputes on, well, I want you to buy that piece of property, and
Understood. Okay.
so that is in the right of way where they're going over there. Do you want us to do that, or do you want us to tell them, see what the deal is with? if it's
Tell
a
them
new
learn to
truck?
drive or.
Because it's about the same time they sent that letter that they put a note on one of our big cans down at the sewer plant saying that they weren't dumping the can because it was too heavy, and it's the can that comes off of our separator that keeps the big dumps out of it.
Regular big wheel trash can, and
So when I called her, the manager down there, they said, no, it's a new driver. I'll take care of it. And they did. They're dumping it now, and she
Okay.
apologized. And
Okay.
but this may be the same deal. It's a new driver, and he's afraid to hit the corner of that building. He's not familiar with the truck, and that's why he's getting way over there. But we can do something if you want something, make that alley wider.
I would say let's start with asking the question, did the truck size change and is the driver new? We've been using Kimball for quite some time. If this hasn't been an issue to date, if the truck size didn't change, then we got a driver issue. So why don't we start by asking that?
Okay, I will call the same lady that I called about the sewer plant. That's it.
All right.
Do they don't need action on the hydrant, or you're just gonna do it? That doesn't need a motion or anything? You're just doing it? Just-
Don't need a vote.
Oh, okay, that's what I was asking,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
I'll motion to
better get the
approve
new one. than just
Get the
get
new one.
parts.
And I'll
Yeah.
second that.
All right. All in favor?
I,
All opposed, same sign? All right. Motion
and
carries.
thank you, Josh. I seen the email for the link for the
Oh, yeah.
lines, and I came in and I got the book, and I was looking in there trying to remember the name of that place, Arcadia, because I was gonna call them because they originally said they were gonna set us up with a link. And I called Jed and said, I'm gonna call Arcadia, and he said, well, you didn't see the email apparently, but that you took care of it. Said Josh Bennington took care of it. So thank you, Josh.
No problem. Happy to help.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you. Moving forward there, school property, great news there. Spent a good amount of time on the phone with Nate Schinderwolf, superintendent for Trevor Local Schools, and we're going to be getting back a contract from them by the end of this month, and everything is smooth sailing on that front. So waiting to get that done, but I've got just a few discussion points that he wants to have with me surrounding that, and then they're going to get us something over that we can get to our solicitor and get before you guys. So that's moving right along, and excited about that. The next one is the solar array discussion. I want to be careful about what I say there, but I would just say that we're in negotiations with them to come up with an arrangement that I think would be mutually beneficial, both for the solar company and then also Shreve. So I think we're nearing a close to those negotiations. Steph, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're making good headway there.
And I back.
Yeah, I agree. I sent over a basically a red line with our proposals back to them, so we'll see what they say.
Excellent. Betty, you were backing me up.
On the school property.
Yes, ma'am.
We do not have a place to hide for tornadoes or anything. Couldn't a school be used for that somehow?
Unfortunately not. By the time that discussions were opened with the school and the school board on the property and Shreve's potential involvement in the property, my understanding, and I may not get this exactly right, but my understanding is that brownfield dollars were already at play where the school was concerned, and the village would not have been able to show enough fiscal wherewithal to bring those buildings up to code, which means that they'll be donating the property to the village of Shreve. I think there's a dollar amount involved. Nate mentioned $5 or $10, something like that, but they'll be essentially donating it to the village of Shreve. But it will be green grass ready to go, ready to build. So unfortunately the buildings will have to come down. That's beyond our control. So, but down the road with the plan that we have, that may be something that could be in the works. I don't know. We're obviously just at a 30,000 foot view with that, as you know. So potentially, yeah. But you're right, there is a need that we have in Shreve for that. So it'd be wonderful to be able to address that somehow. So, and I don't know if the Shreve Community Church has. I know they have a basement. I don't know if they ever opened that up for that. We might be able to reach out to them. Have they ever done that to your knowledge, Ron? I don't know that they would, but
They offered the church for safety if something would happen at the school as far as a mass shooting or anything like that. But I don't know about any kind of tornado shelter.
and yeah, and that's obviously not something that would be on them to do, but I do know they have the facilities in the short term. But I don't attend the church, don't want to speak for them. I'm just thinking out loud, I guess, and maybe that'll get me in trouble. But yeah, there is a definite need. So okay. All right. Ron, any update on the aeration project?
Not since you and I last met with
Okay.
engineering associates,
Okay.
we were discussing the building and so forth.
Yep. And we did get council decision over to them on that. So if you haven't heard anything, I haven't heard anything. So, okay. And then the Harold Miller Park, we're going to have to call council, a special council meeting at some point to discuss that. There is a fair amount of paperwork and applications needs to go into that 300,000. And we'll need council to make a decision on what we want to do in relation to that funding. And whether or not we want to try to figure out a way that, given it's in a flood zone, we want to try to put the money into the Harold Miller Park, or do we want to go back to the state and petition that they allow us to move it up to the school property and utilize the funding there. So just a bug in your ear in relation to that. And then one of our items down the road is in our agenda is going to be to try to set a date for that special council meeting, and then we'll also discuss committees in that meeting as well, and try to get some active committees going, which would be good. So, Joan, am I missing anything on the Harold Miller Park there?
Yeah, we just have a deadline to spend that money by, I believe it's July or August of 2026. So I think it is something that's critical that we need to get it addressed fairly quickly. As I have shared with you and some of the other council members, that we had originally had the Army Corps of Engineers out, and we did a site walk of the Shreve Creek. They were originally going to do a study and try to mitigate some flooding or the flooding within the Shreve Creek corridor. But I think we have that opportunity has passed. Therefore, I make a recommendation to the board that we not utilize $300,000 in a floodplain. I do not see FEMA giving us a green light to build anything in a floodplain. We would have to, we'd have to get a lot of permits. We would have to go through a lot of red tape to put 300,000 into a floodplain. And I'm just recommending it to council not to do that, to perhaps take that money, look at how we could apply it to the school property after the demolition is completed, whether we start enhancing playgrounds for the children, enhancing any of the existing ball fields that would be left. And that's just going to be up to council and the committees to sit down and take a hard look at that. But I encourage everyone that serves on the Park and Recs committee, maybe we could get together at a special meeting and take a really hard look at this to make sure that we're utilizing that $300,000 to the fullest extent and apply it to a project that we can have completed by July, August of 2026. So we need to get to work on it, and we need to get to work on it quick, because if we don't, have that, we might be able to request an extension, and that's a very good possibility. The state's typically really, really good about working with small communities for extensions. They don't like to do it, and so if we can avoid going to the state and asking for an extension, I highly recommend that. But I also feel that it's prudent that we get to work as a committees, the Parks Committee, and figure out what we're going to do with that 300,000.
All right.
But we can use it other places. We don't have to use it at the Harold Miller Park, correct?
We would have to go back to the state and ask them to approve a change of scope, even if it's to use it up at the school property. So there would be a process to that.
It'd be nice if they would grant you the extension, because you don't know how fast the buildings are gonna come down. I know their plan was pretty quick, but I mean, look at the high school. It's down, but the cleanup's taking
Exactly.
good old time.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. So,
I mean, that's not necessarily saying they could close her down here in a couple weeks, and
Right.
anything's possible. I guess that'll be determined on what they do there.
yeah. Okay. All right. Then moving forward to new business, I would say POs 17552 through 17556. If I could get a motion to accept those.
Sport.
Yes. Your binders. Right there.
It'd be all the way in the very back, Chris. So
Yep.
just start with the very last page and work your way forwards.
Yeah, that's where I went. I'll pass these around. Didn't see them, I'll put them back in the book. Turn signal cost that much, seriously? What have to be done for the charger to pop that much for a turn signal?
Turn signal.
It's a lot of work. The whole column, everything is torn apart. That's not like the old school, like.
No, but
You know, it's the
the
lever.
well,
So
okay.
Everything. has
That's
to
why I
be-
was wondering if it was lever or what was.
The turn signal itself is the biggest part of it, the high dollar part of it.
Figured that's what it was, but not sure.
And then some of them are like a half moon shape where they take part of the column apart to put it in. That one goes around the actual wheel nuts. They had to pull the airbag and the steering wheel. Take that one out, slide it over and put everything back on and reset the airbag.
Okay.
And yeah, I went as long as I could. I kept bumping it, and it kind of just. It wasn't as obvious to that day, but at nighttime you can really tell when I'm like, this is a turn signal. But it's the turn signal, the high beams, and the windshield washer. Windshield washer fluid and brighters all on that one.
Okay.
And it rained today, I broke it, and when it started raining, I had to pull the fuse to the wipers to get the wipers to shut off as they quit.
Take a motion on that one.
I think a motion to pass.
All right, thank you. Chris, can I get a second?
I'll
Second.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
We'll give it the full. All in favor? All opposed, same sign. Nope.
Mayor Martin, if I may, when you are accepting those motions, if you could call out who made the motion, just so we can pick it up on the recording.
Sure will.
Thank you.
All right, March and April 2025 expenses, revenue, fund reports for review. We've got down Leah on this. Leah, did you have some comments on those?
Not really on the I mean, I guess some of you are new and you might not have seen these before. So, just kind of an overview on the financials themselves. This is normally what we give every month after the reconciliation is complete, be a fund report, a revenue and expense. You can see on the fund report, like what the current balance is as of April 30th. And then that encumbered amount is current purchase orders that are open. So then that available balance is what is left after those purchase orders if everything was to be paid on those. The big thing to look at on your revenue and expense is you can see there's a percentage column on both of those that kind of show you where you're at that point in time, as to what percentage of the revenue you've collected versus what percentage of the expenses that you've collected. I haven't done a deep dive into this, just trying to get everything caught up, but on a basic overview, everything right now looks to be pretty well off. There's nothing alarming sticking out here. Fund balances are relatively at a good spot, without taking a deeper dive into it, which I plan to do here in the near future.
All right. Sounds good then. And Seth, I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mayor. So Leah, basically, just general, for council, we have 3 new council members. in looking at the revenues and expense statements, there's been a lot of speculation, one might say, within the community that we've heard things like we're bankrupt. Is that a true statement?
That is not.
Thank you.
The village at this point in time is in good standings.
Thank you. And we are within budget. We are not over budget, and we are not spending outside of our budget limits. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are actually, at this point in time, through the end of April, we're under budget.
Thank you. Mayor Martin, I would like that just reiterated in our minutes that we are under budget, that we are not bankrupt, and that the village is operating smoothly financially. And this comes from our accounting firm, Barney and Fink. I think current council should be very pleased for where we're at and what we've come through over here the past couple months, and how we are being fiscally responsible as the leadership that that the community is relying on. And I'm very proud of your leadership. I'm very proud of seeing what's happening with our budget and the decisions that are being made. And this council and the council moving forward should be very proud of this accomplishment.
Yeah, I think I would echo that. I've heard some rumblings here and there of people saying that we're going under, we have gone under, we're bankrupt, and it's just utter nonsense. I would really like to think somebody would just reach out and ask, but people seem much more willing to type on keyboards than they are to ask questions, and I think that's a crying shame. For those and for the record, I would say absolutely the case. We're not in bad shape right now. I'm not saying we don't have some high hills to climb in the coming years. We certainly do, but we're certainly aware of those and are working extremely hard to try to make sure that we're navigating those waters the absolute best we can. So very grateful for everybody who has a hand in that. All right, Steph, do I need a motion on the bank reconciliations and the expense revenue fund reports?
Maybe a motion to accept the bills and pay the bills.
All right, I'll take one of those. A motion to accept the bills, pay the bills.
A motion to accept the bills, pay the bills.
Thank you, Josh, for making that motion. Betty, thank you for seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. All right. Carries. That takes us down to the current loans and liabilities for the village of Shreve. Joan, I had to ask you to kind of pull some of this together. We have saved a contract that was entered into but not officially signed before I took office. I don't think we've incurred any. I mean, we've gotten a lot of grants, but the village certainly has debts and some loans that are out there. And I'd asked you to kind of, for the new council members, pull some of those things together. Did you have a chance to do that?
I did. I just, unfortunately, I didn't have my file with me. So and Leah helped me pull this together, but we ran the numbers. And I think the new council members need to be aware of this, that prior to 2024, right now the village has over $560,000 in loans, and we are paying on that. And I also think it's really important that we get that information out there into the public. These were loans for various projects that we kind of want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into and get that published on the website for transparency. I do know that these are not related to any grants that we wrote and submitted and got funded for in 2024. All grants that were submitted in 2024 were 100% funded. So I think just for transparency, we will do a little bit of a deeper dive and get this published on our website so the community knows that right now the village has that amount of money out in loans. I assume that they're for water projects over the years. But we are paying on them. And as you just heard, our budget is handling those loans. But I also think moving forward, before council considers taking on any more loans, or at least this council, that we look at our funding going forward, and instead of just taking out loans to take out loans, that we keep continuing to look at grant funds to fund projects and work hard with our state representatives and legislators on trying to leverage more grant money.
Absolutely.
Thank you for making us aware of that. That's good. I really would like to see that deep dive as to how long these loans have been on the records and on the books, and nothing's been done about it by prior councils or mayor. It's time to figure it out.
Yeah, some of them have been there for some time, I know. So, yeah. And so we'll get that up, and we'll get it both for council and then also for the public. You know, and just to address that, I think, Joan, you made an excellent point in that there are at times grants that come in that have matching fund requirements. And for us, the $2.5+ million that was brought in last year was brought in fully funded. The village didn't have to shell out one plug nickel for those grant programs, save you know, the time that we paid you for, which was a pittance compared to what we got. So, all right. I spoke with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, maybe not even that long, from Julian and Grube. They are the folks that have handled our audits at the village of Shreve for quite some time. Good fella, and they're excited to jump in and complete the audit. They have what is called an agreed upon procedures audit, which is what we had last time and what we had the time before that, according to the guy that I talked to. This is an agreed upon procedures, is an abbreviated. And Leah, I'm gonna relay what I believe I understood the guy to say. But if in your experience you want to correct me or clarify, please do. You have my blessing to do so. An agreed upon procedures audit is more abbreviated. They don't write an opinion on the financial condition of the village. They're not doing as deep a dive. The agreed upon procedures is something that the state auditor's office puts out. He told me that we still qualify for the agreed upon procedures abbreviated, but he said that if we would like to go with a full audit and kind of have them do a deep dive into everything within the financials of the village, that we could certainly do that. They haven't on their end submitted the paperwork to the state, which means that if we would like them to do a full audit rather than agreed upon procedures, that we can ask them to do that and they'll do that. Now the amount for the full audit is $11,000. I'm speaking in rough numbers. And the agreed upon procedures, which is abbreviated, is roughly $9,000. So there's a little bit over $3,000, or right around $3,000 in additional cost for the, between the agreed upon abbreviated procedures and the full audit. I would really love us to see us go ahead and get a full audit and just show everybody around we don't have anything to hide whatsoever. Get the full audit done. We're going to have that done in 2 years anyways. You only get an agreed upon procedures audit 3 times, and then the fourth is mandated by the state to be a full audit. So that's coming our way anyways. I would like to recommend, it's not my decision to make, but I would like to recommend that we just get a full audit done.
You said it's coming up in a couple years, but if we haven't done now, we don't have to do it in 2 years.
We'll have to have it done every 2 years anyways.
Okay.
The state allows us to get 3 abbreviated or agreed upon procedure audits done in a row. And then after that, we have to have a full audit. So the next audit that we're going to have anyways will be a full audit. Does that make sense?
But this, we don't have to have it yet, right?
We don't have to have a full
Till
audit.
next
We're going to get an agreed upon procedures audit at the very least anyways. So we're on the hook for the $9,000 to get that audit done regardless. If we want to get a full audit done, it's an additional $3,000.
And Mayor Martin, if I could make a recommendation to council, considering that we've had now 2 fiscal officers and with new staff coming in, I highly recommend to council to just spend the $3,000 and pay for a full audit. Not
So
that
moved.
we think that, anything that, has been done wrong, but I think for a new fiscal officer coming in, that they would just want to know, have that peace of mind that, everything's good moving forward. And Leah, I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but feel free to chime in on your thoughts as well.
I think if you did pull on it and made it public, maybe it would squash some of the bullshit. No, it won't.
I think all we can do is be transparent.
As long as it's Facebook, it's still got
Jeff,
the crap.
Jeff, you made a motion to go with the
I
full
made the
audit.
motion to go with
Chris,
audit.
you seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, I'll give him a call and say, give us the rundown, big fella. That was probably weird, but all right. And we're gonna get the full audit. All right, ordinance number 2-2025. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into contract to transfer easement or other possessory interest over certain sewage and water lines located under parcel numbers 20-00706.000, comma 20-00706.002, comma 20-2-00706.005. Say that 3 times fast. Somebody. All right. Whereas a dispute exists with respect to who owns an 8-inch sewer line and the water lines that services parcel numbers 20. I already read it. Where those 3. Whereas at least one property owner believes the village must maintain the said lines, whereas nothing is currently on record indicating the village owns, possesses an interest in, or otherwise has a responsibility for the maintenance of said lines. Whereas the property owners have expressed an interest in transferring their interest in said lines to the village, whereas the village is willing to accept control and responsibility over these lines because such benefits the general health and welfare of the village. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the council of the village of Shreve, Wayne, Ohio, as follows. Section 1, the council hereby authorizes the mayor to negotiate and enter into a contract with the necessary property owners to obtain full control of an 8-inch sewer line and the water line that services parcel numbers. No payments are authorized for the acquisition of said lines. The village will then be responsible for the maintenance of said lines. Section 2, that this resolution is in the best interest of the village of Shreve and its residents. Section 3, that the aforesaid recitals are rendered to be the findings of this council and hereby incorporated into this resolution. Section 4, that this council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the adoption of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council which resulted in formal action were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with the applicable legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 5, this resolution is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the village's residents. For the immediate implementation of these rules, provided this council resolution receives the affirmative vote of its members, elected or appointed council, it shall take effect and be enforced immediately upon its passage. Okay, so I'll jump into this one a little bit. The Walters property, I've done a deep dive into this. I've been looking at it for some time, looked at it again. I do think that whether right or wrong, that those homeowners were promised certain things, were led to believe certain things by the administration of the time. And I think that from my conversations with Habitat, on which I'm a board member, that they would not bring in several housing developments like that, or several housing lots, and then connect them without something being considered a main. And so essentially what we have is that sewer line on that property runs down. One property owner is subject to the other. If there's an issue here and this person has a backup in a flood, they have no way to force them to mess with that 8-inch line to get it fixed. They're just on the hook. There were parts that were bought at Shreve Hardware for that. We have record of it in minutes, both I believe on the water board at the time and within council, where that language was used. It looks like an easement was started by the previous administration and never finished. Whether right or wrong, from a legal standpoint, I think that it would be in the best interest for council to just let us take control of and take care of that 8-inch line. That would be my thought. So
One question before, just to lay this out. Does that 8-inch line go underneath their houses? Just because if something goes wrong and say it's under their basement, we would be, the village would be responsible for tearing up their basement and replacing the concrete or anything. So they would have laterals that go to the 8-inch.
that is my understanding. Yes.
Who would have that information?
Well,
There's no information.
yeah, we're gonna have to go down and do some. What's that?
Her water lines run under.
The water, yeah, the water lines do, I know, but
Well, those are the water lines her water lines that go into the house, the two
That into the
outside
house,
of her
yeah.
house.
the
That
2
one I
8 inch
do
is what you're talking about. Yeah.
But I was just laying it out before you made a decision that if that 8-inch is under those houses.
I don't believe that's the case. Ron, is that under their house to your knowledge?
Not that I know, but I think it's right.
Can we confirm
Right.
that before we?
I would absolutely take a motion with that as a caveat.
I
One
would
thing
move.
we could do
Go ahead. Sorry.
on the
Go ahead.
legal side, one thing we can do is, there's another place where it's kind of similar, where there's a water line, being moved by that. There's an existing water line roughly 5 to 10 feet away from an in-ground pool. And another client just recently maybe is considering acquiring that line. And so a term that was discussed was potentially, making the personal and real property of the property owner's responsibility, and the line, the municipality's responsibility. So something we could do here is say, look, we'll go in and we'll fix that line that's running under your house, but we're only responsible for the line. We're not responsible for your house. And we can kind of carve it up a little bit language wise to, make sure we don't destroy their house, but that the village is also not absorbing a cost that maybe the taxpayers don't want to bear.
I think that they already did the line under their house because they had their basement torn up and new line put in. So they're talking
That's not
about
the line we're talking.
outside.
Right. That's not the line we're talking about right now, though, right? This is the main line, more or less. Getting it out there, so.
Right.
There's two different stories that I got. It's way before I was administrator. One was is that there's supposed to have been, there's 2 houses, but there were supposed to have been 4. And one story they got, the homeowners got, is that the reason they did it and didn't do the lines out to the main like this was because the mains was not low enough and there wasn't enough drop.
Okay.
I'm not sure how there's not enough drop since they're on the hill. And then the other story I got was because it was habitat and they were going to put in the extra houses and there was already 2 there, they ran a plastic line from that house down to the main down here. That way it saved habitat money because they only had to pay 1 tap fee. So Bruce said, that's a good idea. You only have to pay 1 tap fee instead of each habitat house having to pay its own separate tap fee all the way down through.
That plastic, is that an 8-inch line?
Do you believe it's 6?
So the
But it's
8-inch
plastic.
line we're talking about, is that a carbon? Is it?
I do believe it's plastic. I cannot state it for a fact. But one way or another, with prior administration agreeing on that, I do agree to probably should take care of it. Other than the reason the 2 councils before were so scared of it is because of the material it was made out of. They were afraid of breaking it.
Right.
Or when they come up to they jet from the bottom, they might blow sewage into this house, trying to get up to this house, since it's all on that.
All on the same line.
Okay.
But
Now,
we
if
have-
I'm under the right assumption from what I've been told, isn't there a clean out at the Walters house?
There's a
Which one?
clean out,
Which-
there's a clean out from their line out to that line.
On the side of their house?
It's
'Cause I
right
was-
out front by their steps. That clean out only is for here to here.
In the driveway?
Yeah.
I thought that was the water.
There's a
I-
clean,
I was
there's a clean
told
out
there's
above
one
their
that-
little miniature hydrant there.
Oh, okay, because I was told it was in the flower bed, but I wasn't told which exactly flower bed it was in.
And we
Yeah.
have jetted that, but we just turned the jetter way down, so we don't.
Yeah.
That's what I just wondered.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, the administration that I talked to at Habitat, the individual that was there at the time is not who is there now, but they said that would fly in the face of absolutely everything that they stand for, operate by. To run it like that, to save a couple of bucks. I mean, you know, they have these projects fully funded. I can't see Habitat doing that. So I think we just handle it and take care of it. I think it's low risk, and I think it's us doing the right thing by the citizen.
I agree, and I like Seth's, little piece in there to protect us.
Yeah, I like Seth's piecing to protect us. I also think that it might be a good idea to just maybe ask engineering associates to shore up some of those things, ask some of those questions, make sure that we're thinking of it all the right way. And given that as a caveat, can I get a motion to accept the ordinance? Actually, it would be to suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that motion. Can I get a second? Thank you, Betty. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, then I would entertain a motion to accept or to pass ordinance number 2-2025 with the caveat that's been mentioned by Seth and the review by engineering associates.
I'll motion to accept with ordinance 2-2025 with Seth's revisions and
All right,
engineer.
sounds good. Thank you, Josh, for that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Flo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. A couple of quick matters that we've already kind of discussed. We knew we would have to circle back with some resolutions, and here they are in front of you. Resolution 8-2025 authorizing the participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2025. This is what we had discussed before. We tacked on a few extra loads. I think Ron, it was 4. Is that right? 4 additional loads. And so we want to make sure we're not in a position where we don't have salt for our streets. So this was something we had discussed already, but I would need a motion to accept it.
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Betty. Can I get a second on that? Thank you, Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Resolution 9-2025, same story here. This was discussed last meeting. We just have a resolution kind of firming everything up. That would be a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into the contract with Valley View Spray Service, LLC for Mosquito Control Program 2025. So,
I would like to move.
all right,
Accept it.
excellent, Jeff. Thank you. Can I get a second on that?
No second.
Thank you, Josh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Okay. The spring cleanup would be on June 30th. We do have that posted online, and we've shared that out to our Facebook page as well, just to try to get the community up to speed on that. So we've done that. We do have several letters from Kimball that have gone out to residents or will potentially. We're looking into that, but we have a couple of residents who are using Rumpke rather than Kimball. Kimball is stating that is in violation of the contract we have with them. I've spoken with Seth about it, and we're looking into the contract and that piece of it. But we certainly want to make sure that we're not in breach of contract with Kimball. So just to keeping council up to speed on that.
Now, is it Rumpke in the trailer park?
I don't know offhand which addresses were there. We're using it. I don't believe it was the entire trailer court. I don't believe. Joan, you spoke with Kimball when they were here, is that right?
Yeah, there are about 5 addresses, and I don't have those with me, but I know we're getting ready to write the letters and send out the letters with a copy of the contract.
All right. There we go. All right. We've had a couple of public records requests that I'm just gonna bring into council, and I'm gonna read them real quick so that we have them on record. We're gonna be working to get these completed, compiled, and done here within the next 2 to 3 weeks, as we're able to do so with the heavy workload we have elsewhere. But we'll certainly make them a priority. One of them comes from Linda Rett, Deer Village Hall. I'm writing to formally request access to public records pursuant to the Ohio Public Records Act, Ohio Revised Code, Section 149.43. Specifically, I'm requesting the following: all records of resignation submitted to the Village of Shreve or possessed during the years of 2024 and 2025. A copy of the projected budget for 2025 is submitted to council. All letters of interest, resumes, submitted to council to fill the vacant council seats of Heidi Garst, Matt Larimore, and Tracy Polson. I think it'd be Brad Latimer, not.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry, just kind of threw me. Documents or resumes submitted for the solicitor position, the utilities clerk, and the original resume submitted for the grant writer position. And then just please call me at when these copies are ready to be picked up at Village Hall. And there you go. So sincerely. All right. The next one comes from an anonymous. The email account is svhsftpcc@yahoo.com. Dear Village Hall, I know that's a mouthful, right? You met somebody over the phone. Dear Village Hall, I'm writing to formally request access to public records pursuant Ohio Public Records Act, Ohio Revised Code, Section 149.43. Specifically, I'm requesting the following: all records of resignations submitted or processed during the years 2024 and 25, including but not limited to any documentation related to Paul Shears and members of the city council. I think they mean village council. Employment records for Joan Zimmerly, including a detailed breakdown of her work hours from the beginning of her employment, a day-by-day summary of her projects she worked on during her tenure, a copy of all records reflecting her hours since her return as interim fiscal officer. I would prefer to receive the records in electronic format if available. Please confirm receipt of this request and advise any clarification or additional information that is needed to facilitate the search. Thank you for your attention. Listen up. All right, so those we are working on. I'd say within the next 2-3 weeks, we'll certainly have those, and we'll go from there. Council members that are new, we have set up some emails for you. And before you leave, we'd love to be able to get those on your devices, get your passwords and all that, so that we can start communicating at a very high level with you. So before we're done and out of here, after the meeting, if you'd like to stick around for just about 5 or so minutes, we can get you up and running. All right. Servants line inventory link was posted online. We covered that earlier. And then we need to set a special meeting date to assign new committee members and then to get some things up, active, and running. So if we pull that up here in the next couple of weeks, what does that look like? I mean, we're coming up on Memorial Day, so I would assume at that point we're into maybe the first, second week of June. And our regular council meeting, I believe, is on June the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. So does a day work for council?
Actually, third Monday would be the 16th.
Third Monday would be the 16th. Thank you. I've clearly been working way too long. All right. So first, second week, does anything work there for you folks? Somebody want to toss out a day? Wednesdays are typically bad for me.
With my upcoming travels, I'm just hoping we do it before the 4th of June.
Before the 4th of June?
Correct.
So can we shoot tentatively for the 2nd, which is a Monday? And do it at 7 p.m. Does that work?
Works for me.
All right. Then we'll work to get that posted and go that route. Get that posted on the website and then also on social media as well. All right. That gives us that. And then from there, we're coming down the end of the old trail here. All right.
Our yard sale the first weekend of June.
Yes. I think, well, yes.
7th.
Yeah, the 7th.
And softball tournaments of June 9th.
All
I
right.
don't know if that matters.
Do I?
They're having a softball tournament June 9th.
Oh, are they?
Girls.
I guess that's just an FYI. All they've asked from
Awesome.
us for is,
Yeah.
is two
Yeah.
barricades, so we'll have two barricades up there for them. The rain date's the 10th, if they get rain.
It's more of a notice for me since my ball pit in my backyard.
I'd like to,
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to move to enter into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121-22 G1 to consider discipline and or dismissal of an employee in matters that are required to be kept confidential by law. So if we could start executive session.
I would like to make a motion that we hire Alan Sands as part-time police officer.
Well, I think that would be a separate matter.
He's chief police of his own.
I think he is
He's chief police of
chief
his
of
own
police
town.
there, so.
But he could still work part-time here.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I'll happily discuss that with you, afterwards. We could even cover that here in a few minutes if you wanted to. The motion that's on the table before us, and then any invitations into that as well. Is the solicitor included in that?
Yeah.
I think fiscal officer. Then, I guess we would do a roll call vote on going into executive. Seth, is that correct?
I just want to clarify that the motion is to, and I'll get the language up here. Was it council president that made that motion?
It was.
Okay, so council president moved to enter into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G1 to consider the discipline and or dismissal of an employee in matters that are required to be kept confidential by law. And he therefore invited to the executive session all members of council, the mayor, the village solicitor and or assistant solicitor, and the acting fiscal officer. And did we want to invite Ms. Wyrick as well due to her firm's future possibility of being the fiscal officer?
I would say so.
Yeah.
We're discussing fiscal matters. Go for it. Okay, so then I would, and I would take a roll call vote on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Then I would need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Flo, how do you vote?
Yes.
All right, Betty?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
All right. Then we will enter into executive session. We'll cease recording and we'll clear the room. Yes, we'll come outside.